What's up there, workforce? Chris here with Work To Game, and I'm here to talk about whether or not Blizzard is dying. Now, this has become somewhat of a series on the channel that we explore. Thankfully, the vast majority of our library is all positive videos, but every once in a while, something hits so close to home that we can't just ignore it and brush it off. And this all started this morning when... or this evening, when I saw on Polygon that Blizzard had no major game planned for 2019. Now, this on its own is not a big deal. Mike Morhaime, stepping down after 27 years, announced last October. He had a nice thing at BlizzCon and all of that as a farewell. He's the last of the three founders that's really actively been playing a role in Blizzard, in the game development, and still having a strong connection with the community. So that was definitely a heartfelt loss. But we were hoping that it was just new leadership, and it's going to be a rebuilding year, but we're going to just move towards something bigger and better. And things have to change. I mean, we can't expect him to work forever. So I have been trying to stay positive about this. And even my initial response when I read this several hours ago, I actually recorded another video where I tried to just focus on the positive. Yes, that means Diablo 4 isn't coming in 2019, but that doesn't mean we can't find out about it at BlizzCon and get it then. You know, we still have WoW Classic. We still know that we're getting Warcraft 3 Reforged. We're getting Diablo Immortal, and you know, there's little tidbits throughout the year. And I know Diablo Immortal is something that the vast majority of the community is not looking forward to, but it is something that says there is something Blizzard tied to. And I just tried to stay positive because Blizzard is a company that like defined huge chunks of not my childhood, because they weren't founded till 91. So by the time their games got, you know, into my hands and everything, but like really defined growing up, you know, going all the way into like college and stuff like that. Blizzard was something that, like, as I got access to their games, they just became a bigger and bigger part of my life. And they've been around a long time. I mean, in 91, they were founded by 3 guys, and that puts them almost as old as like EA, Nintendo, Ubisoft. That makes them older than BioWare. So they've been around a long time. And so I've really tried to think about this from the benefit of the doubt. That no, they couldn't be dying. They're just rebuilding. They couldn't be absorbed the rest of the way into Activision. They still have that same barrier that Mike used to be. But I'm just not so sure anymore. And here's kind of why. So they cut hundreds of jobs. 800 jobs were cut. Now, this is in the face of 800 jobs. Okay, you have to cut jobs sometimes. IBM does it all the time. That's how you protect your profits. You go through and you say, okay, we've hired up for this, we've staffed up for this, they did that job. There's no way to go through. You're not going to fire them all, but really that whole job is just, you know, when you talk about things like, here's the storm on its way out, okay, well, that whole team needs to either be positioned in different roles in the company or they need to be let go, because you can't just keep paying them if that game isn't going to be around. So it all comes off of, there's a nice ad. Welcome to our video. CNN reporting that, you know, Activision is laying off 8% of its workforce, and that put pressure, they reported, as about 750 jobs. So you've got 700 to 800 people that are losing their job or have just lost their job. And this is in addition to anybody over the last several years that may have been asked to leave as a game scaled down, or may have been encouraged to leave, or anything like that. So when you say, well, who are they letting go? Well, let's jump back to our first article. Obviously, you know, they're not going to let go of the most important people. Well, this is where I started to get really frustrated. Is, first of all, it's across all teams and studios. It's not just against underperforming teams and studios where, you know, if the game's not doing well, it doesn't justify your job. Like, I just try to look for some logical reason to not be getting upset about this. And they said the company announced during the call that it eliminated 8% of its headcount, primarily in non-development areas. And thank goodness that's not a quote, because it's an incredibly dismissive statement. The idea that a company whose only product is games has people that don't matter to my experience as a gamer is either a sign that you are a bad hiring company that you have some weird, I don't know, party planners that just plan Taco Tuesdays and they're on full salary and all they do is provide tacos to like non-Blizzard employees. Like, who is it that they let go of that's just not important? We're just letting them go. That doesn't make any sense. So you have to think, okay, well, what do they do that's non-development? They do esports, and they do marketing, which is important to the future of the company, and they do community outreach, people that run forums, the entire community team. So everything they do, from planning things like BlizzCon to the teams that are in charge of forums and responding to, you know, I always tell you guys, if you have a problem with the game, go put it on the forums. They're listening, I promise, they're listening. Well, it's possible the guy who's listening just lost his job, or she just lost her job. And so who's listening? And then you think about, okay, well, what are other non-development areas? Because there's no way they had 800 people that's the whole people. Well, you have quality assurance. So are we going to have games that are just buggy as crap now? Are the server teams safe, or are they just running under staff now? So when the server goes down, oh, we only had one guy on staff overnight at launch. It just... You're saying that everybody that's not a dev is not important, and a game this big has art teams, they have music teams, they have lore teams, and all of this is important to building a game that can service this many millions of people as well as it does. And I'm talking about it like it's one game. This is a portfolio of games that we know and love. And from my understanding of the industry, if you're a programmer, if you're a dev, if you're a world-class graphic artist, anything like that, if you take that skill set and you apply into the competitive world of getting a job within gaming, you're underpaid. And that may not be the case in all cases, but my understanding is the vast majority of those people take a pay cut to get the job that they want. That people who work at Blizzard work there because they like it. They work there because they're passionate about Blizzard games and they wanted to be a part of it. And this is how they're rewarded. I mean, you see Mike out and you see these people out, and it's like, okay, well, maybe they needed the money. Maybe Azeroth is not doing that well. Maybe World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth is not doing that well. Okay, well, let's go check that. Let's go see if they post it. Okay, here is their quarterly earnings report for the fourth quarter of 2018. All right, so their net revenues were $2.38 billion. That's a record. It was only $2 billion in 2017, 2.38. That's an extra $340 million that just showed up. Okay, well, maybe they have a lot of costs. Oh, well, their net revenues from digital channels are 1.79, and their operating margin was a Q4 record of 29%. Like, how much were these people being paid that you felt they had to be cut? Were they making $1 million a piece? I mean, you want to structure a layoff to go through and get rid of a team in an underperforming area. Maybe that's justifiable, but why these people couldn't be absorbed into existing teams, why it doesn't make any sense. And so I am sitting here trying to find a way to be positive that, oh, well, BlizzCon this year, we're going to get this amazing announcement, because they can't go 3 years in a row without a significant announcement at BlizzCon. They have no new IP. They're actually getting rid of Heroes of the Storm. Hearthstone is on its normal pace. Overwatch is doing amazing. WoW is gonna, it's under new direction, so hopefully it's in a turnaround. I'm personally enjoying some aspects about Battle for Azeroth. Yes, I think it came out of the gate stumbling, but I think they seem to be aware of the things that I wish were different, and the things I hear other people wish were different. And so as long as they're headed in that direction, I'm not willing to call an expansion to an established MMO a good or a bad expansion until we get to the end. Like, I don't know if Stormblood in 14 is good until Shadowbringers drops, because how 4.55 feels, how 4.57 with the World Visit system feels, is an important part of that whole thing. So I'm not willing to call Battle for Azeroth a failure yet, even if it's had some rough moments, because there's still a little bit of good there that I'm enjoying right now, and there's still room for a lot of good over the course of the remaining time before the next expansion. So I don't see the problem. I mean, it seems like Classic is this huge fan-driven thing that you're gonna like show. You're gonna show all this love to this nostalgia factor, and you're probably doing it with a fairly small team because it's just reestablished assets. So it's most likely profitable because it's going to help drive people back to the core subscription. So people who don't want to play WoW Live are going to go, or whatever they're calling that, will play WoW Classic. And so it's this very much an add value. Diablo Immortal, if it's not a cash grab, I don't know what it's for. The whole benefit of this cash, and the whole reason I justified the cash around the Diablo Immortal issue, was companies need cash. They do. They need cash. And that cash gives them the ability to run games the way we want them to run them, to cancel a project if it's not going well and retain those employees, to treat their existing employees well. All of that goes out the window if you then just keep the cash and cut the employees. I don't know what the action is here. So is it dying? No, it seems to be doing better than ever. It's got record profits. It's just doing phenomenal. However, it doesn't mean that they're not being dicks. So no, I don't think it's dying. I think if anything, it's just turning into Activision. Full on blast. And I am the guy on this channel that always jumps in the comments to say it's not Activision, guys. They have their own creative control and they have their own, you know, they're financially tied and all that, but as long as they're able to keep, you know, sending money to Activision at the set rate, right? They're a piece of the Activision shareholder pie. So as long as they're delivering their piece of the pie, Activision will leave them alone, and it's going to be fine, guys. It's going to be fine. And it's not going to be fine. There's 700 to 800 people whose families are not feeling fine. And this is assuming that not a single person in that number was let go of for a different set of reasons in the last 6 to 8 months. And I'm blessed enough in my life to be around enough gamers that I know some Blizzard employees, and I know some of them have lost their jobs or been pushed out of their jobs in the last 6 to 12 months. So it's not like, oh wow, we're just too good at retaining employees, we've got to find a way to get them off the books. I know there's people that lost their jobs, either because their job changed and they didn't want to be there, or because they were asked not to be there, or because they were offered an option to not be there. There's a lot of ways out of a company, but I know that they had methods of getting people out, and they were already using them. So to come in and just cut people, I think is really, really frustrating. I don't know, guys. Is it dying? No, I think it's here to stay. I mean, they're protecting their profits. Is it dying in the way we view it? There's a sliver of hope that this is some weird rebuilding year, and that by increasing their development workforce by 20%, they end up back on top. Maybe best of case, Activision drops them like Bungie and they go back to being Blizzard, and the handful of people that are still there that were original employees rebuild the culture. It turns into something amazing and wonderful. And it's this the moment where we can look back and go, remember when Chris was really upset, and Chris and Bryan and all the other YouTubers were just upset? It was nothing. But that doesn't feel like the direction this is going. It feels like we're changing the company for the worse, and it feels like we're eliminating 700 to 800 people because we want to protect future profits, and we have existing record profits. And we're not interested in making games anymore except when we have to. Let's just make money. Let's make merchandise. Let's do as little inventive as possible. Let's learn from Activision and be Activision Blizzard. Let's just drop the Blizzard. We're just a studio of Activision. It wasn't called Activision Bungie. It was called Activision. Let's just dissolve it. Let's stop calling it what it is. So I don't know how to send them a message. I don't know if we're supposed to unsubscribe from games or stop buying games. I would say don't buy any new Blizzard games, but don't worry. They took care of that. There won't be any new Blizzard games. So I don't know. I don't know if this changes whether or not I'll try Classic. I'm frustrated right now. I think that let's give it a couple months and see if this frustration still exists. But Blizzard is sick. We've known they were sick for a long time. They have said they know they are sick. Cutting losses would normally be a sign that they are doing something to get better, but the profits already show that they're doing just fine. So I don't know where the disconnect is. And I'm really frustrated. And I would love to know what you guys feel, because this is exhausting just to think about the people affected by this, and that they would come in and just do something it just looks nasty. It just looks mean, to come in and say, happy 2019, thanks for all your hard work, now get the hell out of my office. It just seems like a dick move, and I don't see any logic behind it, and I keep flipping through articles looking for something, and I just don't see anything. So my name's Chris with Work To Game. Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe you can help me understand the better side of this. I tried to be positive. I had a video recorded 2 hours ago where I just looked at it really objectively and tried to say, I'm not going to get emotional about this, but I think this is worth being frustrated at. Blizzard is a company that I really care about, and I know a lot of other people really care about because of what it's meant to them over the years. And to see it failing like this, I don't want to just silently watch it die. And I hope it's not. I hope that its culture and its core is not dead, because that's what we're really losing today. Their financials say that the name will be around for a long time to come, but I'm hoping that the Blizzard that we know and talk about fondly is not on its way out. I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, so I just finished editing the video that you just watched, and one of the silver linings is that Mike Morhaime was supposed to be in this advisory role for years to come, years and years, on into perpetuity. And as of January 7th, I had not seen this. This line down here at the bottom, cut off by my face, says, as previously disclosed on October 3rd, Mike Morhaime entered into an agreement with Activision Blizzard, the company, pursuant to which he would provide strategic advice to the company in an advisory capacity. That we knew. When he stepped down, he said he would remain on as an advisor. Here's where it gets frustrating. Mr. Morhaime's employment with the company as a strategic advisor will conclude on April 7th, 2019. Oh, I'm done. Good night. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time.